Hola, amigos. Welcome to the Best of Mazatlan Show. My name is Mark Lickman, and I'm your host and publisher of bestofmazatlan.com, the leading digital lifestyle brand of Mazatlan, Mexico. This show will feature entrepreneurs, leaders, local businesses, nonprofits, realtors, musicians, and other stories that showcase the best of Mazatlan, Mexico. We'll broadcast today's show on my Facebook page, the Best of Mazatlan Facebook page, the Best of Mazatlan YouTube page, and the Best of Mazatlan Spotify page. And will also be archived on bestofmazatlan.com. You, the viewer, can contribute your perspective or ask questions during the live broadcast by posting your thoughts in the comments section on any of the Facebook pages that you're watching the show on. A quick shout out to my producer, Marissa Callie, and my producer for today's show, Tora, without whom I couldn't do this show. If you're watching this show live, please like and share this show, and also send in your questions to Dianne. I'm thrilled to be with my guest, Dianne Hofner Saphiere. Dianne is a professional photographer who has had individual and collective exhibitions here in Mazatlan, as well as in 24 countries, and her work has appeared in numerous publications. She currently has a community exhibit that can be seen atop El Faro in Mazatlan that she'll be sharing with us later on the show. But Dianne is much more than a professional photographer. She's had a very active career as a community organizer and photojournalist, and worked for 40 years in intercultural organizational development. Mariana Biasotti, founder and owner of Rico's Cafe, called Dianne a force of nature, an inspiration for anyone living in Mazatlan. And I respect Mariana's opinion because I know her to be a force of nature and an entrepreneurial inspiration in her own right. You can follow Dianne on her two popular Facebook pages, Vitamaz and Through Di's Eyes. So without further ado, welcome to the Best of Mazatlan Show, Dianne, and thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, great to see you, Mark. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I'm going to start the show by turning it over to you to tell us a bit about you, your background, and how you ended up in Mazatlan.
Yeah, that's a good story, I guess. Like everybody, I fell in love with Mazatlan. I first came down here in 1979, which of course dates me. I was a spring breaker. Three
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends and I took that train, El Bala, from Nogales down to Mazatlan.
Wow.
And we had a great time. We partied on the beach. Back in those days, you could have a bonfire right on the beach by the Malecon here, and met some young men and had a good time. And I ended up years later getting married right here in Mazatlan in the garden of the Camino Real Hotel up
Oh,
in San
wow.
Carlos,
I
which was lovely back then.
love that hotel.
Yeah, I really miss it, and it's a
Yeah,
shame.
me too.
But yeah, then we bought a vacation condo here, which quickly turned into a house because every time we came down, we didn't want to go home, and our son wanted to live here too. So we raised our son since I guess he was 12 when we came down, and he graduated from Eco here in town, and
Okay.
so that's
Oh,
what brought me
great.
to Mazatlan anyway.
Yeah, great. I was so happy to have had the opportunity to attend Tianguis, Mexico's national tourism fair, which was attended by the president of Mexico, and just to witness all the improvements that were made in Mazatlan to showcase this awesome city. And I know one of your proudest achievements includes your exhibition at the entrance of the show, which, by the way, was the best attended individual visual arts exhibition in the history of the port of Mazatlan. Tell us about how that show, and I think Toya, we have a picture. There you go. Tell us about how that came about, Dianne, and about the visuals that you exhibited for the show.
Yeah, sure. As you said, I just before this Tianguis, and that's the National Tourism Fair of Mexico. Just before that, I had a 2-month show in the Angela Peralta Theater, and that was what was the best attended ever. Cultura told me, and so it was kind of riding a high. And there was a really cool show. You know the Corrido de Mazatlan, the famous
Yes, absolutely.
song. So each of my walls was a different stanza of the song. And Cultura loved it so much. They said, well, let's do it for the tourism fair. And it's different photos, but they showcase the beauty of Mazatlan, the natural beauty, the cultural art scene. etc. So I think there were 20, and you saw how huge they were. They were like 3 meters
I know.
and when the president and all the dignitaries were standing there, and I'm just like, ooh, this is too cool. And everybody who entered that tourism fair had to pass by them. So
oh, absolutely. I was standing there during the procession when everybody walked by. I wish I would have known you then. I would have looked at the pictures with a different eye. But anyway, yeah. Cool. It was cool. It was so, for any of us who've lived and worked in Mazatlan, it was you had to feel proud about Tianguis and just having it in Mazatlan. For years, I used to go to Alcubano, and that looked like it was going to be there forever and ever. But Mazatlan did a tremendous job of putting its best foot forward, and that was just such a wonderful event. You have a new community exhibition that's currently on display atop El Faro in Mazatlan. Talk to us about that, how that came together, what people can see, and how long the exhibit will be running for.
Yeah, it's a wonderful exhibit. As you can see here, it opened October 27th, and I was astounded because you have to climb the lighthouse, which, for some people that's a 5-minute hike, no big deal, but for other people that's a good 20-minute hike up to the top. But the views up there are spectacular. And that evening we had about 110 people hike up to watch the inauguration. But it's really worth it. We have, the glass bridges up there, and the Patronato, the group that manages the Faro as a tourist attraction now and keeps it clean, and the staff, they're doing a fantastic job. They've paved with rocks a lot of the way. They have lights all the way up so you can come down when it's night now. But that night we had a gorgeous sunset. But it's 15 photographers from the area. There was a contest. And I have I was an invited artist, and I was the curator. So that was really fun. We had I thank the judging group. It was Eunice Murua, Paco Farriols, and Juan Tunal. And the four of us had to choose, or got to choose. It was a difficult decision. I think we had about 157 photos to choose from, and we could only use about 15.
Wow.
But they're beautiful.
Yeah, no, I encourage everybody to go up there and see it. Now, tell me when the show's running so people have an opportunity to go see it.
It's open whenever the Faro is open, whenever the lighthouse is open. So that's I think they open it. I don't want to misspeak. I think it's 8 a.m. until sunset. And it'll be there at least through February. I kind of think it might be there longer. They're printed. It's an outdoor exhibition, so it's open air, and it's only the second exhibit that's been up there. The first one was Lopez Sáenz, Antonio Lopez Sáenz, who's the most renowned artist here in Mazatlan. So to be the second one right after him, I'm like, ooh, this is pretty cool, you guys. And
that's exciting. That is exciting.
All printed on acrylic. They look fantastic. The colors just jump out.
Oh, that's great. Well, I definitely encourage people to go. And, it's a little bit of a hike to get up there, but you can pace yourself and take breaks. But believe me, in addition to the photo exhibition, which is definitely worth coming to see, the views are just spectacular. So for anybody coming to Mazatlan to visit, that's the trip you want to make, and to see this photo exhibition as well. So, take advantage of that.
And the theme is so near to my heart. It's the Mazatlan bioculturalism. So it's our community's relation with the environment. And it's so crucial here in Mazatlan. The culture of the place is integrated with our estuaries, our streams, our ocean, the fish that we eat, the wonderful seafood. So it's really trying to rekindle that awareness and build that knowledge again, because with all this development going on, we want to balance and make sure we keep the best of Mazatlan.
Absolutely. No, that's so important. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that gives it even more meaning. And I think that is so important. You want to keep Mazatlan beautiful, And, I was so encouraged with all the improvements in Mazatlan to see the trash cans on the Malecón, which were missing from the early days. But, just little things. But, the city just looks a lot cleaner because there's an emphasis now on that wasn't always there. But it's great to see it evolving in such a positive way right now. So that just makes your exhibition even that much more important and relevant for people to see. So please, I encourage people to go up there and do that. Your photography is also featured on the cover, and I might butcher her name here, so you're going to have to help me jump in. You've done the cover as well as the interior photos of the cookbook of the icon of Sinaloan cooking, a world heritage cuisine. Go ahead.
Kuka, Dona Kuka Cardenas.
It was the Kuka that I wasn't sure of, but talk to us about that project.
Oh, she is such, I am so thrilled. To me, you know, Mexico is the only World Heritage cuisine through UNESCO. And to me, Dona Kuka is one of these women who she has been instrumental in preserving the heritage in our state of Sinaloa for cooking. She, throughout her whole life, I mean, you can see from the picture there, I think she's about 94 now, 92.
Wow.
Dona Kuka, I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. She looks great. She's got great energy. But since her 20s, she has traveled the pueblos and in the Sierra and along the coast in Sinaloa here to capture the local recipes. And she has published cookbooks. Now, this is her, I think it's the 3rd volume that one is. But it's the biggest one by far. She's got about 800 recipes in there. But
wow,
it's just, you talk about a force of nature, a force to be reckoned with. She is just a little dynamo. I have had the pleasure to be in her house with her and dine with her and cook with her. And when she was the one, she said, Diane's going to do my photos. I'm like, cool. Thank you.
and you were like, can I also eat something that you're making right now?
I think I need to test a few.
Yeah. What was one of your favorite dishes? I mean, how fortunate that you got to, taste her wonderful recipes.
My favorite of her recipes is a really typical Sinaloan dish called enchiladas de suelo. So enchiladas of the floor, but they're made with squash and chorizo. They're so good. She's got a lot of good ones. I love pozole. I love michiotes de Huamantla. There's a lot of everybody. Her cookbooks have been required gifts for every bride in Sinaloa for decades.
Where are they available in Mazatlan for people listening to the show that might be inspired to run out and get one now? So are they in the bookstores in Centro, or where can you find them?
Yeah, they were going to be in the bookstores. I haven't checked that. They were at Panama for a while, but Panama runs out of them. The easiest way is to contact Sylvia Costello at tintamarina.com. Tinta, like, ink, marina.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Terrific. But they are so worth it. I mean, they're in Spanish for our listeners, but
right.
Book in Spanish isn't that difficult.
No, you can figure it out these days quite easily. But I would encourage that. It looks fantastic. Diane, I pulled a few of your beautiful photographs of Mazatlan, and Tora, I'm queuing you up at the same time here, from your website, throughdieseyes.com. And for people that just, if you want to go to her site, it's through, THRU, DIES.com, Through Dies Eyes. So if you don't mind, tell us some of the stories behind some of these photos. And if you could pull up the first one, Tora, and let the audience know how they can purchase your prints or hire you to photograph their events. But let's start with this one right here.
I love this man. I wish he were watching right now. This is Tonio Alcubano. He's a shrimp fisherman. It looks like there's something over his mouth. Something got done there.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a portrait. He is in a boat out on Estero de la Escopama up in Cerritos in Delfín. And you can see how weathered he is. His whole life, he has been a shrimp fisherman, and they shrimp in artisanal ways. So he is the rower of the boat. It's like a Venetian, what do you call those? So you, in his hand is a stick.
Gondola.
The gondola. He's just pushing the little panga. And then there's a man in front who casts the net by hand, and they bring in the shrimp. And there's probably, in this cooperative, it's called the Cooperative of the Mexican Revolution. And my guess is there's about 24 guys. The oldest member there also is about 94. They've been incorporated since 1969. And it's our last remaining kind of virgin estuary in Mazatlan. It's so beautiful. If you like to bird or you like to hike, it's a beautiful place to go.
Yeah, yeah. And I love this photograph too, just because he has just so much character in his face, yet he has that, that warm kind of Mazatleco smile, that's
Yeah,
very welcoming. But he just looked. I pulled this picture just because it was just the character. His character was so much, and to hear your story behind it even gives it that much more meaning. That picture is available on your website, isn't it, for purchase?
it is
Yeah.
available, and I have an Instagram page and a Facebook page. It's all Through Thy's Eyes, and
Okay.
if someone is in Mazatlan, just contact me. Direct message me through Instagram or Facebook, and I'll get it to you. But otherwise, yeah, the website throughthyseyes.com. There you can order it however you want it printed, and
I saw that you had that in different sizes and whatnot. So that's terrific. Tora, can you pull up the next photo that we can look at together? I pulled this one just because I know this is Copala, but it just it could be anywhere in Mazatlan too. You know what I mean? You see this every day walking in Centro in the morning. I mean, it's just one of those vintage kind of scenes from the street.
Yeah, this is exactly why all the expats here love Mexico, right? Love Mazatlan.
Exactly.
So Copala is a little mountain town. It's probably half an hour or so from Mazatlan up in the Sierra. Mm-hmm. And I was there. We had spent the whole day hiking around. I like to go birding, so we were birding. And I was sitting in the plaza in the late afternoon. I was probably sipping a beer, I suppose. And these three guys were just sitting on the bench. And the one guy, he's always there. And he actually lives in Mazatlan and goes up to Copala on the weekends, the guy playing the guitar. Jose, maybe his name. But they're obviously compadres from way back. They grew up together and their dogs. And then this guy who's standing, his wife had sent him to buy eggs to the groceries, to the little market. So they had called him mandilon because he was, that's what men call women who are, their wives make them do things, right? Mandilon.
Right.
He was powerfully saying, "No, I'm not a mandilon. I'm my own man."
That's funny. That's why I couldn't tell if he was singing or not. It looked like he might have been, but when you said dogs, I was like, "Where's the other dog?" And then I just realized he's underneath the bench on the left. I hadn't noticed him before.
Yeah.
But it looks like
the shade is.
Yeah, I was going to say he found the nice shady spot under there. That's funny.
Yeah,
wow, that's a great. I love
photo
that shot.
has won a couple of contests, and so it's available as well. It won a street art contest. So
yeah, I loved it. I was drawn to it just because it was just so familiar to me, and having just been to Mazatlan a couple of weeks ago and walking through Centro for hours, I saw a lot of that scene. So I was drawn to it. Okay, Tora, next photo. I pulled this one because I don't remember ever seeing a mossy beach in Mazatlan, but I guess it's there. I don't know how you found it, but tell us about this.
It's seasonal. No, in Mazatlan, we have probably, I'm guessing, 30 miles of beautiful, beautiful sandy beach. It's wonderful, wonderful swimming here. So this is only seasonal. I want to say it's late summer, like in August, September, and that's when most of the expats aren't here because it gets humid. So people like to go somewhere else. But I love that time of year. And of course, raising our son here, we had to be here because he was in school. And the tides go out very far and then they come in very far. So that's when you get the spray over the Avenida del Mar. You get the cars all get sprayed with water. And then you get these tide pools with the moss on the rocks. And you see all the little crabs and the little fish, and the kids all come out to play in the tide pools. And it's one of my favorite times of year.
Yeah, it's neat. It was neat to see, everybody sees, the pink sand beaches and the black sand beaches. You don't often get a chance to see mossy type beaches like that. So that's what drew me to this photograph, just because it was unique in that way. But that's it. That's interesting. Tora, I think we got another one or two queued up. This one I love too. Yes. Tell us about this.
Well, and this one well. I think you had one in your opening slideshow.
I did. I love this spot.
This is our Oceanfed swimming pool here in Mazatlan, Carpa Olivera. This was built, I think, back originally in 1929, something like that, by an Italian guy. Italian, Portuguese. As soon as I say that, I'll get it wrong. But it's been maintained. And then Eric Perez was the architect who did this beautiful scalloped, the shell-shaped slide on the left, the rounded slide, which
Yes.
right now is painted white. To me, that's kind of sad, but it's a clean look. So
Right.
But I mean, we get the most glorious sunsets anywhere in the world. I have traveled the world for the last 55 years, I suppose. My job had me going everywhere, and I really do feel like Mazatlan has some of the best sunsets I've ever been.
There's no doubt. And I loved what you named this picture too. The sky is in the water, just the way the reflection of the beautiful sunset into that ocean-fed pool is just really spectacular. And I thought that you named it most appropriately.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's nice. I enjoy the ones that you that caught your eye and that you focused on. That's nice to see. And anyone who's watching, I would love to have you join me on Facebook or Instagram, because it's fun to be able to dialogue a little bit and see what people enjoy. And
absolutely. Yeah, you got to get behind the camera, people. That's why we're doing this. So I'm glad we're having this opportunity. And as you can see on the message there, follow Dianne on her two popular Facebook pages. I do. Best of Mazatlan does, at Vita Maz, and through Di's Eyes. Toya, I think we have maybe one more queued up there somewhere.
I think she said there was the last one. I think so.
Now there should be one with lightning. Do we have a lightning one?
Oh, I love that lightning one.
I know. No, yes, no.
Where I am right here on the Malecon, we're on the 11th floor, but we look out at the islands on the right and at downtown on the left. And so during the summer, when we have rainy season and it's lightnings, I am in seventh heaven. My husband and I sit out there breathing in that ozone from the lightning, and we watch the lightning over the islands, over the downtown. It doesn't matter. It's just so impactful and powerful. And
it is.
Paris, we're sheltered.
I know. Well, it's funny. What drew me to that picture, and I don't know if Toya is going to be able to pull it up or not. It sounds like she's trying to, but if she doesn't, you can find it on throughdieseyes.com. But it's a great shot. And for those of us that live in Mazatlan, especially in the summer, when you're walking along the beach and suddenly you see these spectacular lightning storms, and when you're growing up as a kid, it would be the kind of storm where your mom would say, get inside the house, like right
go down
now.
In the tornado shelter.
Yeah, because it looks so intense, and Dianne captured it in this photo. It's spectacular. But the thing that really drew me to the photo was that you see this lightning that looks spectacular, but also dangerous. But then you see the shrimp boats in the water, like nothing's wrong. It's just like another day in the ocean with all the shrimp boats out there while this dramatic lightning storm is happening in the background. So
I call it the necklace on the bay. When they open shrimping season, all the boats go out at once. And as you look out, it's like a pearl necklace or a diamond necklace.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you can see that in that photo. So anyway, for those of you that can't see it now.
Yeah, go take a look. I have loads of lightning shots because I love it. As I say, my husband and I sit there on the deck with our glass of wine and breathe that ozone and look at that one.
I know. It's intense. And it's really intense when you're walking along the beach and suddenly it starts happening. And it's like, but usually it's in the distance and you're safe. So it's okay. But anyway, go to the website and check it out because you'll want that one. Well, anyway, Dianne, speaking of lightning, this is kind of we're at the point of the lightning round of our interview.
Wow.
Oh, hey, here we go. Okay. All right. So now you know what I'm talking about, people.
Thank you, Toya.
Thank you, Toya. You see those lights in the background there? Those are shrimp boats out in the ocean in the midst of this intense lightning storm. So that's just vintage Mazatlan right there, because we are a shrimping village.
We have. I believe it's the biggest shrimping fleet in the Americas. I believe.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm very curious because when I take storm shots here, they very often come out purple. Whereas I was born in Wisconsin. When I take storm shots there, they tend to be green, almost like Wizard of Oz. So I had to research it a little bit. And what I came up with is it's the temperature, the ambient temperature. And because it's so warm in the summer here in Mazatlan, when the lightning happens, they turn out purple.
It does have a purple hue to it. I hadn't noticed it until you said that, but yeah.
And I think the human eye, we don't really see it because the flash happens so fast.
Right.
Yeah, we don't realize.
Yeah, what caught me there was those shrimp boats out there.
You're so brave. I couldn't do that in a million years.
I know. I don't know. What are they thinking when they see that? Because I don't want to be on the ocean when I'm seeing that. I just
no. And sometimes the waves are just pounding too. God bless.
I know. It's scary, but anyway. Okay, so now making the segue to it is a show. The lightning round of the show. Okay, it's a little forced. You see what I'm doing here. Anyway, so tell me about your favorite place to eat in Mazatlan.
These days, I would say it's Casa Mayora, which is right down. You mentioned Marianne Biasotti and Rico's. In Olas Altas, it's coming north a little bit, just around the corner there by the federal building. Okay. So it's on the side street, Casa Mayora. It's great. They do all kind of traditional Mexican food, a lot of it from the interior, but a mayora is how you say chef in Spanish. So a woman chef. So they have big photographs of leading women chefs in Mexico on their wall.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. Good to know. Your favorite bar in Mazatlan?
Oh, that's easy too. If I can say it. Akachi, something like that. Axaccee. It's up in the marina, and it's on top of one of those new towers. But see, the marina is so wide open still, so you have a 360-degree view of Mazatlan from Akachi Bar. And they have one of those see-through swimming pools, acrylic swimming pools with a swing. So you get in there, and you can see right through to your legs and all the way to the Faro from the marina.
Wow, that's a good tip, Diane. I didn't know that one. I'm gonna have to check that out. Good tip there. Okay, well, you've done the cookbook thing, but what's your favorite food to eat in Mazatlan?
Callos. Do you know what callos are?
No, tell me.
Scallops. Big fat.
Oh yeah, I love those. Oh yes.
With lime on them, and pepper and some salt and
the scallops are insane. They're the biggest you'll ever see. I mean, they're just tremendous. I love that.
Tender.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, your favorite beach in Mazatlan?
I bet you it's yours too. Stone Island, Isla de la Piedra.
I love Stone Island.
And Stone Island, what I love is there's such choices going down the main part of the beach. And of course, there's the whole other part over by Cerro de Chivos, Goat Island too. And you got, you got nice and modern. You got very rustic Gilligan's Island.
Yep.
Yeah. But you got, fresh coconuts right from the trees that are right there. Sarandeado, that barbecue fish split open that they caught that morning.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, I love it so much.
It's my favorite place to go when people visit, when family or friends come down.
It is. It's special. It's unique. And just getting there is just, an experience. I love taking the ferry over, and the whole experience is it's great. What's favorite activity to do in Mazatlan when friends come to visit you?
I really like to take them out. Of course, you spend a few days in town doing there's so much to do. You could be here, we've lived here 15 years, and it's always changing. There's always new stuff. Right. But I really like to get people out of town and take them to a pueblo, be it Teacapan, Escuinapa, or north of town, Celestino Gasca, somewhere on the coast. Or somewhere up in the mountains, because the Sierra Madres are really beautiful.
They are. They're spectacular. I did, when I was there, we did the World Mountain Bike Championship in Mazatlan. First time it was in Latin America, and we did it. The trail went through the Sierra Madre Mountains, and there was one part of the trail where everybody wiped out. You just couldn't. I mean, as a photographer, you would have had a field day in this one. one spot because there was nobody could make the turn, but it
Oh
was
man.
intense. But it
Well,
was
that's cool that you're a biker like that, a BMXer.
yeah. I've promoted and marketed a lot of world event mountain bike events and cycling events. So I don't know how, but it just it's entered into my realm of things that I promote. But anyway, it was great doing it in Mazatlan because of the Sierra Madre Mountains, which is one of the things I love most about Mazatlan is having the ocean and the Sierra Madre. You know,
Right.
if you love the mountains and you love the ocean, then Mazatlan has everything you could possibly want. What's your favorite improvement in Mazatlan? I mean, there's been lots of them over the years, and you've been there for 15 years now. So you've, especially since Tianguis on, there's been some really major
Well,
ones.
yeah, the most recent improvements I've loved have been the parks, like down in Playa Norte, the tent-like park they put up there, and Parque Lineal. But for me, honestly, I love any development where they plant a tree or,
Yes, you're right.
anything where we are rescuing an estuary, because too often development means cement. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, back in the earlier days, I mean, there weren't any parks in Mazatlan. I mean,
Right.
really to speak of. I mean, I when we moved there, my son was 4, and there weren't a lot of parks to go to.
No, and the other interesting thing, though, if you look at Mazatlan from an aerial view, you will see a lot of green space in
Hmm.
the older colonies of town.
Right.
And they have really historic trees. And I know that again from the birding. But if you get out there, they tend to be small parks, they're community parks, and the neighborhood really looks after them. But you thank goodness, because some of the big parks, it's too easy to improve them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm going to go off script a little bit because you've mentioned birding now a couple times, and 2 of my favorite people, Paul and Carolyn Beckman, had done a
Yeah,
Mazatlan. They did a Mazatlan Bird Festival, and I of course, for bird enthusiasts, Mazatlan has the tufted jay that you can't
right.
really see anywhere else in the world, and for birders, that's an attraction, of course. But
And it's right in Concordia, so it's very easy to get up there. You hike
right,
around. You can hire a local guide up there who will lead you right to the tufted jay. Dos
yeah.
Santos, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's a wonderful guy, and his whole family is. And the other nice thing about in Concordia is they are rescuing 8 different species of indigenous corn.
Oh
Maíz
wow.
criollo. So it's a really wonderful effort they're doing right now. And they're growing coffee. Marianne Biasotti maybe told you about that, but they're starting to grow
No.
coffee beans. And of
Oh,
course,
that's
they got
awesome.
the military macaws.
Wow, that's so exciting to hear. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Now I'm so glad I mentioned that. Do you shoot? Do a lot of photography with birding or
Oh yeah, I would say that's my big thing. But
big
I
thing?
am not I'm not the birder that likes to classify them all. It actually, for me, it takes away the magic of it. So
Hmm.
all the birders always get disgusted with me because they'll say, "What was that?" And I'm like, "It was a beautiful yellow." And
Right.
I've birded for 30 years probably, and there's just something about it. It's more the poetry of the birds to me, and I feel like if you don't classify them, you can appreciate their beauty a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Well, this has been fantastic, Diane. I've really enjoyed talking with you. Now I'm going to just turn it over to you before we end the show for you to say whatever you want.
Oh, well, good. I'd love to please encourage everybody to go up the lighthouse, as Mark told you. It'll be there through February. So please go up there, take a picture of yourself and hashtag it so that we can see it with Bioculturality Mazatlan. Also, this Friday is First Friday. As you know, in Mazatlan, we have the Art Walk once a month, all through the season, the winter season. So on this Friday, I will have my work at the Point Gallery. Point Gallery is downtown in Centro Histórico, the historic downtown at Sixto Osuna 61. It's number 13 on the Art Walk map. But the curator there is Marisol Galvan Pelayo, and there are sculptures and paintings and photography. It's a very, very cool gallery space. So Point Gallery this Friday. Then Saturday night, our local astronomy society. I'm a founding member of the Society Astronomical Mazatlan, SAM. We're having our first big event called Night of the Stars, and it'll be at UNAM. UNAM is the Autonomous University, National University of Mexico, which is right by the lighthouse. So that'll be Saturday night. It'll be on the Vida Maz page. I want to say it's from 5 to 9, but a bunch of the astronomers will have their telescopes out. There will be workshops. It'll be in Spanish, but to look at the stars, you don't have to speak the language.
Yeah, that's true.
One other thing I want to say is Cheryl Gaudette's, she and I are collaborating too. You may know her. She's a folk singer here in town. And this week also, I think she's going to drop a new version of her song, Mazatlan Sunset, and it has all my pictures in it. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. That's
yeah,
terrific.
And Mark, thank you. This has been a lot of fun to get to know you. And
yeah, you too. I can't wait to see you in person sometime soon. But yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to sign off my Best of Mazatlan show with this. We all have choices in life. Choose love, not hate. Choose positive, not negative. And always remember the glass is half full. And if you're lucky, it'll be half full of tequila from La Sasuna. Stay tuned for the next Best of Mazatlan show. Adios, amigos.
Gracias. Have a good day.
You too.